So I was asked to choose 5 people that will end up leading us to the promised land eventually. So these 5 people are what I chose. They come from all different backgrounds, all different runs of life. They may seem normal on the front end, but they all bring characteristics that are positive that could potentially save us down the line. So the 5 I chose, the first one I chose was Joe. He's an Olympic trained athlete. He's a decathlon athlete. The second I chose was Ariel, who has a chef background, specifically in nutritional things, things with positive value that could potentially help our group. Third was Umi. He's a professional sumo wrestler, so kind of like a physically dominant specimen. Excuse me. And then Dalel. She's a visual artist who mainly works as a stand-up comedian. And then our 5th is Chloe, who I felt like was kind of the leader of the group. She's a mechanical engineer, spent many years studying, so I felt like she was kind of the brains of the operation, somebody who I felt could lead this group and lead our civilization to the promised land. So the first one I'll talk about here is Joe, Olympically trained athlete. He's a decathlon athlete, somebody who is extremely physically gifted, specifically with endurance, somebody who's got to run miles and miles, do a whole bunch of things from a physical standpoint. But I also felt like what was so important with Joe that he could do is somebody who's so mentally strong, somebody who has to push themselves on a daily basis through their training. I felt like he was somebody that could really be a leader with this group. And he can teach others to, excuse me, to train themselves from a physical standpoint to make sure we withstand any sort of issues, longevity, things like that. So I felt like Joe was somebody who had a lot of experience with physical endurance and also somebody who had been through some rigorous mental training as well. My second was Ariel, who's a chef with a nutritional background, somebody who does a lot of things from a nutrition standpoint. The first thing I felt like that she was so great to help us, this group, was that, like I said, she'd create a balanced diet, somebody that could, another person that could contribute to longevity for our group, to ensure that we're not eating a bunch of stuff that could be detrimental to our health long term. She could establish something that could keep us going for a long time, let this group build, and not overeat certain things. And then another thing, because we have such a limited diet, a certain amount of food to ration, I felt like she could have that experience as well, by being able to ration it proportionally to each one of our group members. The third one is Umi, professional sumo wrestler. Umi's kind of the most interesting part of the group for me, that I felt like, from a physical standpoint, obviously somebody that's so dominant and intimidating could be so beneficial to this group, and that with any other community surrounding us in the area that we're going to inhabit, it's somebody that leads us, could be at the forefront of that, in that he's a great defense, but also somebody that's intimidating enough to keep away anybody that would be wanting to attack us, take away any of our resources. With somebody like Umi, you have that presence of defense and intimidation. And another aspect with Umi is somebody who's trained so well. People always assume with sumo wrestlers, oh, they're just this fat blob, all they do is sit in a circle and rub up against another person. But with the training of a sumo wrestler is so rigorous, so specific. You wouldn't think they have a specific diet. They think they can kind of eat what they want, but it's very specific. You have to train yourself for almost years and years. And that's somebody I felt like could be a great leader, a great leadership quality for this group as well. Fourth is Dalel. It's a female comedian and visual artist. Another interesting aspect of this group, I kind of felt like Dalel, doesn't bring a lot physically to the group, but from a creativity standpoint, a positivity standpoint, it's always good to have, that Energizer bunny for your group. Brings a lot of positive energy, has a lot of experience doing positive things with humor and things like that. Somebody you want to have that, like I said, Energizer bunny for your group. And then once we start to establish our community, I felt like Dalel is somebody that could really bring the creative side to our community. Somebody that could, create a lot of different aspects from a visual standpoint, artistic standpoint. Somebody that's really going to spearhead. Once we kind of get off the ground level for our community, somebody that could really lead that part of our group. And then last we have Chloe, as a mechanical engineer, somebody that's been trained, took a lot of time to get her degree, and just took so much time to learn that degree. I felt like this was the person that could be the leader of our group, certainly the one that has the most mental training, somebody that could really kind of go hand in hand with Dalel. Dalel kind of had the creative side, but she could have more of the hands-on side with building new things, establishing pipelines, sewer systems, things like that, things that a mechanical engineer would have to restart for a whole new community and a whole new world. And then another interesting aspect that was given for this assignment with Chloe is that she's a polyglot, which is somebody that speaks multiple languages, so not just bilingual, but a long list of languages. So if we're ever needing to communicate with other communities, even somebody within our group, like who may not speak English, somebody that could potentially communicate with each other and lead our group to the promised land. So all 5 of these people, excuse me, were people that I felt like were really great leaders that could really spearhead this movement in terms of moving to a new community and establishing a new world for this group. So that's it. Thank you.